Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to LPA Presents. I'm here with Shellie Schmals, creative curator and producer at Von Schmals Production and talent wrangler. The list goes on about what she's known for, and we're going to learn a little bit more about it today. How are things been for you?
Hey, Matthew. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. Things have been really great. It's an exciting time to, be in the entertainment industry and, working with people who have a lot of ideas and productions going on. So things have been really, in my world, things have been going great.
I can't wait to fully enter it myself.
Absolutely.
Now, I've been able to get a list of questions we can ask you, and I hope that you can give some advice for anyone trying to get into the industry as well. You ready to begin?
Absolutely.
What inspired you to pursue a career in the entertainment industry, and how did you get your start?
So I always loved entertainment. I remember from the time I was itty bitty, like 4 years old, told my parents I wanted to be an actress. Obviously, that for me, like my parents, it was the last thing they wanted to hear. And I ended up, kind of finding it later in life. I got my education. I got a BA in history and government. I went to school for first college student services. I wanted to work on a campus, college campus, and then I got my MBA. All the while, doing things and gaining skills that would eventually help me in the entertainment industry. I was very involved. I think how I kind of swapped my, desire for acting is that I was very, very over involved in organizations. I was like a clubs and orgs geek, especially in college. And that, started my love for really putting events together and ultimately producing. In I want to say it was like 2005, I stepped into Relapse Theater here in Atlanta, Georgia. And it's actually featured in a great documentary, a comedic documentary that Rory Scovel does. I forgot the name of the doc, but you can find it on YouTube. But it was basically this renegade improv comedy theater here in Atlanta. And I started doing improv and basically spent my 30s in a basement every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, just performing, finding my own creative and comedic voice and meeting people. I was lucky enough that in Atlanta, a lot of creatives found Relapse Theater. So we had not only comedians, but filmmakers and writers, and we had breakdancing there, and it was phenomenal.
You seem to have frozen up for a minute.
People, and I did sketch comedy for a little bit. Oh, sorry. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, great. I was doing sketch comedy, and eventually I found burlesque, and burlesque is really where I found my voice and my creative medium. And so for the past almost 15 years, I've used, burlesque as my through line for my creative voice.
That's cool. I actually wish we had more of the same scene around here. Morgantown is best known for Don Knotts, at least. But
I love Don Knotts.
But the film industry in West Virginia is very small, if at all.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so how have you found many people, or are you still trying to find your film community there?
Still trying to find the film community. I was in touch with one director here, but he seems to have fallen off the face of the earth.
Well, I hope that you find them. And there's definitely multiple ways. I think one of the first things I would do, if you haven't done it already, is just start kind of Googling and seeing what production companies are in town. I don't know if maybe there's any like mixers that, do you have an entertainment office?
No.
Okay. Yeah. That always helps. Any colleges or universities that have a film program?
We have WVU here in town, but I don't think they offer it.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully you'll be able to find your creatives, and definitely would love to, 48-hour film festival. I don't know if it gets to West Virginia, but that's a really great way to meet people as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I've done that several times.
Can you tell us about a film project that you've particularly been proud of producing or emceeing?
Sure. One of the most, I think one of my proudest moments that I had that kind of combines my love for film and my love for burlesque is I did a collaboration with the Philadelphia Jewish Film and Media organization back, I want to say it was 2021. And, I was able to kind of like, use my muscles as a film programmer and as a producer to be able to do a call for entries where we specifically had films that were themed to like Basheret, which is like love or a destiny in in Hebrew. And so it was we had about 6 or 7 short films, and then as interstitials we had a few burlesque performances, as well as some different comedians who were sharing monologues, and some sang, some did comedy and shared stories. And I also worked with my friend Brandon Campbell, who's an amazing animator and graphic artist, and he did like interstitials that kind of helped weave the whole thing together. So they were like a couple different arcs, as well as my burlesque troupe or collective, Roxy Roz, with my fellow co-producers, Royalty and Emily Rose. We actually hosted it. So I was able to bring in the crew from Georgia Production Partnership, and worked with a bunch of people, or I'm sorry, Georgia Broadcasting Production, with my friend Matthew Wolf, basically, who helped pull it all together. So it was just a really awesome time where I did a project that I would have never seen myself do, even 5 years before that. But because of COVID and because of, the industry was just opening up in different ways, I was able to curate this event that, I would love to be able to replicate that and do it again for other film festivals. It was really fun.
It does sound like fun.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to up-and-coming entertainment professionals looking to break into the industry?
Just start. That's the first thing, is just do. It depends on what part of the industry that you're looking to get into, but volunteer as much as possible, especially if you're like me. Like, I never went to film school. So, for me, learning the industry, it was a lot of watching. It was a lot of just showing up to events to meet people and network. I definitely, throughout my years, I volunteered to be on set, whether it was just to help out as an extra or just, be a PA for a day in a French short films. I did that about like 15 years ago. And that was just really fun, just to be able to kind of see behind the scenes and how, what a film set's like. I think that, if you're a writer, just start writing. Find people to collaborate with. You can find, there's amazing online communities. Twitter is definitely, has a thriving online community, which is fantastic. Go to Facebook groups. That's really important too. Like, there's ways you can find your community without, and I know for someone like you, Matthew, who feels like you're in an island all your own, but there are people to talk to. You can find, I would say go to go and Google, production companies in town, and just reach out to them, even if it's for an informational interview where you go in and have a conversation, see how they got to where they are. Things may not happen. They may not have an immediate opportunity, but they may have something a little bit down the line. And as for somebody who is a creative that wants to do their own project, as long as you have an iPhone, you can do anything. And there's, it doesn't have to be perfect the first time. I think that's how you grow, and that's how you learn. So, just starting in and just doing it.
And see, I took the hard route. I ended up licensing an animation studio.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how well I'll be able to find animators around here, but without a producer to help out, I'm pretty much just pitching my project around.
Yeah. There are different, we have a CIFA here in Atlanta. And I think it's maybe for the Southeast as well, but definitely like the animation, organizations, those are global. And so maybe it's not just sticking to one space, but maybe it's reaching out globally and seeing who else. But I can understand, like for something like, especially that's so, there's a lot more financial layers to animation than there are for maybe just, doing a regular short with your friends.
Yeah. How do you stay up to date on new trends and innovations in the industry?
For me, I try and read a lot, whether it's, going to the, to like the industry trades, like a Hollywood Reporter, Variety. I read a lot on the internet, I also sometimes just go to Reddit to see what's going on. Where else do I go? Also all the organizations. One of the organizations I'm involved in, Georgia Production Partnership, is very heavily involved in keeping the tax credits here in Georgia. So, the tax credits is what keeps our industry working and thriving, and having people and companies and studios want to open up shop here in Atlanta. So I try and stay on top of that a lot too. Let's see, where else do I go? I talk to my friends and see what they're working on. I go to, like yesterday, I was at a networking event for a Women in Comedy Film Festival that was produced by Cinema Life. And, just talking to other professionals in the industry to find out what's going on.
I definitely need to look into trying to connect through other ways.
What are some of the ways that you use?
One of them we won't talk about, but I have been using Twitter to keep in contact with certain individuals, try and get a feel for things. I don't do Facebook. Facebook has become too politicized. And my family can be quite annoying.
Yeah, I think social media, you have to really figure out what the best use of it is for you. For me, I found that, especially as like an event producer, Instagram has been very helpful for me. Just, for amplifying the events that I'm working on. And also I use it as kind of a medium similar to podcasting, but I use Instagram Live to talk to burlesque and pinup models who are over 40 for like an older and bolder series that I do. So that's really fun, and it's great to be able to talk to people. Just like this, just from anywhere. But that's more how I use my social media. I try not to use it as a platform for like my personal life as much. Right. I have a Facebook page where like I'll post my dog, but I try and use my social platforms more for my projects. And for me, it's more about like where I'm going or what I'm doing and what I'm wearing. Those are what I like to talk about on my socials.
Surprisingly, the three communities that I'm part of are interconnected with each other: the writing community, the screenwriting community, and Twitch.
Yeah. And that's really cool. And it's like what I found is that they definitely overlap a lot, but there's also, they each have their own like individual verticals too.
Right.
So, you may have people that you're connected to on all three, but you also find, that each has its own individual way of sharing information.
Yeah.
I would definitely implore you to be on LinkedIn if you're not in LinkedIn already.
I need to update my LinkedIn.
That's super important from every single person I've talked to. LinkedIn is, from a professional standpoint, that's really where you want to be. That's where you want to be. You present I definitely have a different voice on LinkedIn than I do on my Instagram, so that kind of like it's LinkedIn where you can garnish that higher profile of attention.
Mm. Can you tell us about a mentor or role model who has significantly impacted your career?
Sure. I've just been so lucky to have, to really have mentors throughout my life that have helped me. I look at, like from the time I was in my youth group, I had mentors who helped me get scholarships for summer camp when I wouldn't have been able to afford it. That helped me go to, leadership camps. I had a mentor in college that really, like, I had wanted to be a lawyer. I couldn't imagine me being a lawyer today. But that was really my goal. And my senior year, my fall semester senior year, I had done this internship that I just hated. I was like, why am I here? And it was my career counselor who said to me, well, you're in all this stuff in school. Why don't you why don't you get into college student services? And that totally changed my life. I would like to say that, Bob Wood, who is the director of Relapse Theater, definitely is a mentor for me. He really just kind of like helped me break down those barriers of like anything is possible. And so that has been, that was just like mind blowing to me. Like, wait a second, I could just do stuff. I didn't really know that I could. I had grown up in such a community that was like just like a stickler for like, these are the bounds that you play in, and these are, the things you must do in life. And just to be like, I could just do my own thing. And, in improv and the art of improv really taught me that. LaRonda Sutton and Robin Watson, both, LaRonda is currently the president of GPP, Georgia Production Partnership. She's a past president of Women in Film and Television, and Robin Watson, who is the current president of Women in Film and Television Atlanta, both of those women have been tremendously inspiring to me the past few years. April Kemp as well, who is a freelance, freelance producer, community connector. She's been really important to me and my growth as an individual. I find like inspiration and mentorship in so many people throughout my career that have helped me, connect me to the next stage of my life, that have also been able to, give me those words of wisdom in the time that I needed them.
Wow. I actually was encouraged by a teacher in Texas to continue writing screenplays and try and get them produced.
Yeah.
So I actually hope I can do the same for other people in the future.
Definitely. And all the expertise that you're, gaining right now will definitely be helpful for that.
So what common mistakes do aspiring producers or filmmakers make when trying to get their projects off the ground?
I don't think they talk about them enough. I think that if you're somebody who is working on a project, just keep conversations going, talk about it to new people that you meet. You never know who's got a connection to something that might help you. Like the more you talk about your passions, it's kind of like writing it down too. The more you write down your goals, like there's like you're 85% more likely to meet those goals. And I think that, it's just those little steps. Ask people for help. I think that, like, especially when you're, it's easy to be shy and be humble and not ask because you want to be able to do everything yourself, but that's just not possible. Find like-minded people and just volunteer for each other. Say, you know, I would love to be able to help you on your project. Here's what I need for mine. Like, how can I help you? Those transactional things. Follow up. Definitely, if if you have people that you've reached out to, follow up as much as you can. Don't be ashamed of it. Until they tell you no, it's not a no. A lot of people may, just might be busy. It might not be their top priority. People are balancing so many things. You never know what's happening on the other end of a phone call or on the other end of an email. But if you're appropriately persistent, I think that, they're going to, people will reply. So I think that that's important. And make sure that if you have a project, please have, a way to find you. I know so many filmmakers, because one of the roles I had at the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival was actually seeking out films for our festival. And I can't even tell you how many filmmakers I would find their project in a catalog, would try and find their email address or the film or something like that, because maybe the festival didn't have print sources out. So many films I wasn't able to find or connect with the person because they didn't have just the most simple Facebook page for your film that has your email address. That suffices. That's searchable. You don't even have to have your own web page. All you need is the title of the film, a couple of stills, the synopsis, whatever information you have on it, but make sure you've got a contact email or that you're checking it when somebody DMs you. I think that's a huge mistake people make, that they're not findable. Don't let funding get in the way. There's always a way to do it cheaper, find somebody who might be able to lend it for free. Like I said, your first couple projects don't have to be perfect. They just need to get you out there and started, because I'm constantly learning from things that I do. So events that I did, even like 10 years ago, don't look the same as the events I produce today, because I've learned, and my contacts have gotten better. I've gotten more confident. So you just need to put yourself out there and try.
Yeah, my biggest fear hasn't been people saying no. I expect people to say no. It's them telling me that I'm not worth their time.
Yeah, that's not cool at all. I think that's so discouraging. And I'm sorry that you had to hear that from people, because you are absolutely worth people's time. And, whoever is saying that to you, they don't want to be people you want to work with anyway. You want to work with people who believe in you and your vision, and anybody like that, doesn't matter who they are. Like I have I have certain qualities I look for when I look for collaborators, and somebody who treats people like that, I don't care who they are, I won't work with them.
Yeah. How do you prioritize and manage your various commitments to the Film Festival Alliance, Women in Film and Television Atlanta, and other organizations?
I'm very fortunate that a lot of these organizations, just like can collaborate and work together for things. So sometimes I'll start emails from my different email accounts saying, copying the same group of people, but like, I've got my WIFTA hat on, or I've got my GPP hat on, so they know what, perspective I'm speaking from. And an example of that is this past Thursday, we had a Georgia Production Partnership mixer in celebration of Women's History Month. So, WIFTA was a partner for that. So I was able to kind of combine both, but that's not always the case. I just, a lot of it is just knowing like what's coming up and what maybe is a lighter lift. How, having committees, definitely bringing in people, because a reason why people join these organizations is to network and build up their own skill base and their own, ideas and, opportunities. So being able to delegate and, sharing responsibilities has definitely helped. A lot of times I'm more project managing than I am, the one who's actually doing everything. So that definitely helps. And just knowing like what time of year it is, and what, like right now we're in membership month for GPP, but knowing that like I've got like programming tracks for WIFTA starting in April. So it's being able to time things out appropriately as well. And then for something like Film Festival Alliance, that's a national board. So it's a little bit of a different lift. Those are more or less like Zoom meetings every month, and working on committees through Zoom. So that's a little bit more manageable because we can kind of schedule those as we need to.
Different programs are you a member of?
Pardon me?
How many different programs are you a member of?
So I'm a member of, I'm a member of a bunch of different organizations, but I'm on the boards of Women in Film and Television, where I'm the VP of Programming, the Film Festival Alliance, where I'm on the board of directors there, and Women and Georgia Production Partnership, where I'm the membership chair. So also for my own good, I've also, kind of given myself or different roles in each organization so they don't really overlap and it doesn't feel so muddied. So I know like GPP is more membership, and whereas Women in Film is programming. And then I've got memberships. I'm a part of Film Impact Georgia, which is an amazing organization for indie filmmakers here, where I'm just a member there. And I've been a part of Dance ATL the past 2 years as a participant, and then a curator in their AM Collab partnership. But also I said, I'm a huge like clubs and orgs geek. I love, that's where I get my energy from. And so I just love, being with people.
Sounds like it might be draining.
Yeah, it can be. But I also make sure to take care of myself too. I definitely have my weekends where all I do is, I hang out, I hang at home, like do my laundry, watch The Office, and, hang out with my pup. So I take the time. I've learned that I need to take the time for myself to make it all manageable.
Okay. Now, you're a consistent advocate for accessibility and inclusivity in your work as a burlesque producer and performer. Can you talk about some steps you take to ensure your shows and productions are welcoming and accommodating for performers and audiences of all backgrounds and abilities?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that I'm very proud of our burlesque community in Atlanta who all share these values. It's not just me, but it is Atlanta as a collective. All of these things are extremely important. From a inclusivity and I guess, casting call perspective, we I followed my fellow colleagues, where in our call for performers we always say preference for Black, Indigenous, Latino performers who are neurodivergent, disabled. Like, we want to see diversity on stage, both in ethnicity and culturally, and body types. And so when casting, we make it a point, and I definitely make it a point to reach out to different people in different communities to make sure that happens. We have productions in town, and I haven't taken some of these steps, but I hope to in the next little bit from my upcoming productions. But we have productions. We'll make sure to have a sign language interpreter on stage during emceeing or during some of the performances. I think that's phenomenal. Making sure that our venues are also inclusive for performers. Whether it's wheelchair accessible, and admittedly, some venues, it's not as easy as others, but making sure that those accommodations can be met. and so I think that's the really the key two pieces is making sure that your casting calls are getting a wide enough spread of people or call out, and then making sure on the production side that you kind of check off all these markers to make sure that you're kind of meeting the requirements of making sure that it's accessible, by sight, by sound, by mobility.
Coming from the disability sector personally, it's good to see more representation on stage.
Yeah, same for me as an audience member to see that. I can imagine that, it's that feeling of like seeing yourself, or seeing you reflected. So that's awesome.
Right. Now, you've been involved in the Atlanta film community for several years now. Can you talk about some of the most exciting and rewarding projects you have worked on and what you've learned from these experiences?
Sure. So I think my perspective, I'll come from it more as as like a film programmer, specifically with in two instances with the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival. For me, what was rewarding was being able to work with filmmakers, and especially ones who are world premiering with our festival, and really, talking to them about why AJFF was important, as an important festival for them to premiere at, and then working with them on getting distribution and talking with them about the different ways of distribution, how you can, introducing them to potential collaborators or partners with that. That was super rewarding. And then with Women in Film and Television this year, we had a finishing grant with Moonshine Post-Production. And so they are a champion of independent film and have, helped so many projects. And this year we were able to grant finishing a $20,000 finishing grant to a female-led project here in Atlanta. And that was phenomenal. And so to see like where these projects, these are projects in motion, and to see where they can go now that they've had like this extra boost of resources. And then also following our filmmakers through their journey, seeing filmmakers who start off making shorts and then seeing them making features and getting those features into other festivals. One other thing that I'm proud of that WIFTA does is we give scholarships out to local universities and colleges. So this past WIFTA Gala, we gave out, I want to say like 3 different scholarships to students to help them further their careers. So those are really important for me to see happen.
How many different competitions are there in your area?
Competitions, we have so many is that what you mean, like film festivals, or just like?
Yeah.
Oh, Atlanta has so many film festivals. There's probably like one every other week. We have there's the Atlanta Jewish Film Festival, the Atlanta Film Festival, Bronze Lens Film Festival, and Out on Film Festival. All are Oscar qualifying. So that's really important. We have Cinema Life Collective, and Cinema Life runs I want to say 6 different mini film festivals throughout the year, both here in Atlanta, and they have one up in Chicago. DeKalb School of Entertainment, Tuesday night, they have a film festival. Morehouse has an amazing film festival for, it's the Morehouse International, so not civil rights, it's for civil rights and, global issue, like Global Topics Festival, which is phenomenal. The name is escaping me. I'm trying to think. There's film festivals, everywhere. The Greek Film Festival, so many genre film festivals, Dragon Con. So that's another thing I've been proud to involve into. I'm not sure if you know about Dragon Con, but it's
I'm familiar with it.
okay, yeah. So Dragon Con, and it hasn't come back. I'm not sure when it's coming back. I think it's like because of the pandemic, they haven't had it, but I mean, it was the hugest sci-fi film festival in the Southeast. And that was, seeing that was great. I'm trying to think of what else. There's Chinese Film Festival. What else am I? There's just so many. There's so many independent ones. There's just so many.
I'd actually like to attend one again. The first one I ever attended was Locomotion International Film Festival in Salt Lake City.
Oh, nice. Yeah, film festivals, I definitely encourage everybody to go to a film festival. It's the greatest way, and volunteer for film festivals. It is the absolute greatest way that you can get, be in front of people, see amazing content that you may not see anywhere else, network with other like-minded professionals. There's always, between the screenings, the either salons or Q&As, the parties, they're just so much fun. And to be involved as a volunteer, I think it's that's a great opportunity as well to get the inside track, to meet decision makers, really.
I haven't been able to go to a con since 2012.
Oh, what was the last con you went to?
I don't know if I should say or not.
It's okay, you don't have to.
Okay. It's not one of your traditional cons. It is for a certain community that I'd probably be best not talking about on podcast.
Sure, no worries. But the good thing about cons and festivals are that you're with your community. There's so much fun, and it's something to look forward to.
Now, you've been recognized as a leader and innovator in Atlanta's burlesque scene. How do you approach pushing boundaries and experimenting with new ideas while still honoring the conventions and traditions of the art form?
For me, it's all about, how can I bring new eyes on, the traditional arts of burlesque, or collaborate with individuals. I think, so I'm working on a project right now that I'm launching in November. It's called Film Strip Fest. And it's a mini short film and burlesque festival that I'm doing here. And so that's the kind of ways that I look to, still honor burlesque, but be able to collaborate with different artistic mediums. It's going to be a 2-day festival that each show will be half short film, half burlesque. So there'll be 2 shows on Saturday. On Sunday, we'll have a curated piece that will be a curated short film, as well as a curated routine that will sync together. And so I think it's just, thinking differently. I've seen beautiful routines that integrate film as a projection as part of the routine. Obviously, like live music and dance is another. There's been I think it's just kind of thinking out of the box, and collaborating with people in a new way.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Now, I've heard about the burlesque scene before when I was living in Texas, but I've never been sure of what exactly it is.
So burlesque is the art of the tease. It really has its roots in the 1800s, the mid 1800s, with Lydia Thompson, and I believe it's her beautiful blondes or dancing blondes. I have to look at Wikipedia, but it's burlesque really started off as social commentary. It started off as a way to kind of as a way to have some impact, like the really lower classes have a response back to what was happening in the upper crust of society as the and so there it started as a risque art form, and as the decades kind of leaned more towards in the 19th century and the dancing became more risque was at first risque was like showing an ankle. Risque became then showing your legs, and then you came to your really like the first wave of burlesque, like Little Egypt and and Josephine Baker and women who were dancing and revealing more skin. Those were some of the top talent back in the day. And it's amazing that, just to see how far it's come. And now, you look at Dita Von Teese, who really kind of like brought back the golden age of burlesque in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and, a resurgence of, Betty Page, and that, the era from the 50s, 60s, how that translates today is that we've got like neo burlesque, we've got geek burlesque, horror burlesque, people, it's not just about teasing the audience, it's really similar to film. And that's why I think I love both art forms and storytelling. You have your ability to be your individual narrator and share, whatever unique perspective and unique idea you have to an audience. Sometimes it's very raw and very personal. Other times it's just a lot of fun and it's, really energetic, and, it's people will theme sometimes their acts. Some people are just speaking from the heart. It just is just so individualistic, and to me, it's just beautiful. And, there's also the pageantry of it all, whether it's the makeup and the costumes, but it can also be really simplistic. So burlesque is, very stylized uniquely to the individual who's performing.
I'm definitely going to have to take in a show whenever I come down to Atlanta again.
Yes, absolutely. You should come down for our show in June.
Unfortunately, given my situation, that's not possible that soon.
We'll get you there.
What's next in your career, and what are you most looking forward to in the coming years?
I'm really like, what's next for me is I'm just seeing what the universe has to offer. I'm just so excited about really the rise of the community connections. That's really where I want to be, is working in the entertainment industry within the community, working on productions, working within the burlesque community as well in the same way. I'd really like to see where Film Strip Fest goes in the next couple of years. I love working with film festivals. I'm just kind of, I'm at a point in my life where I know what makes me happy and I know what I'm good at. And so I'd like to really kind of, make both of those things happen for me. So, I can't really say what the path is, because I've learned that anytime I try and put out like a 5-year plan, it never happens. Life takes you in various directions. So just kind of living in the moment and seeing what opportunities come my way.
Seems to be the way it goes anymore, isn't it?
Definitely.
Well, thank you for joining us today. It was great having you here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Matthew. I really enjoyed it.
If you'd like to know more about the film industry, catch us every month on the first or second as we dive into interviews with everyone from directors and actors to screenwriters and crew members. We'll keep you posted on Twitter on who might be next on our podcast and keep an eye out for our website when it's finished. If you have any questions for upcoming guests, leave a comment on our Twitter page. Until then, stay tuned.